Alright, we're live. So, this is going to be a little bit of a continuation from the live stream before, but instead of kind of doing a lot more on the back end where things are probably going to get in the way of me actually just wanting to focus on TypeScript, such as managing the database, connecting to that, and there's going to be a few things like that which get in the way, and I'm not predominantly back end, so let's kind of keep our distance from that kind of stuff. So, we'll probably just make the back end have a JSON API that just serves as a blob of random JSON, and let's just consume that on the front end using TypeScript and kind of keep a little bit more familiar ground in all of this. Hopefully it'll just go a little bit smoother. So, a couple of things I want to do. I obviously need to make an API endpoint and serve some JSON up, and the next thing is probably just kind of get something like parcel set up. Parcel, for anyone who doesn't know, is another one of those JavaScript bundlers, I guess kind of similar to Webpack, but there's just no configuration involved. It just works out of the box, and just for getting started and up and running for things like this, it's kind of perfect, really. So let's make our API first, I guess. And I might do this wrong. Maybe the API route should be typed of kind of what it would return, but now I'm going to focus less on that and just kind of keep more of the TypeScript stuff on the front end and learn it there. So, see how this goes. So we have got this auth.ts file, but let's do something a little different. So hopefully, will that return me JSON? Hopefully so. It's going to be a little bit of a weird URL because it's going to be /auth that this gets served from, but maybe we can change that. Auth routes, come in here. Yeah, let's see if this works. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Okay, so that's our backend server started. So the server should be listening on localhost 3000 and are we good? Yeah, it says the server's on 3000. Let's just change this to be back to auth again. Oh yeah, okay, cool, it's here. I think it's just because the computer at the minute is super duper slow. Doing all the live streaming is certainly killing things at the minute. Anyway, I'll leave that just to hang fire for a minute. But it did serve up some JSON at some point. Haha, here we go, cool. So we're getting something back. So now let's kind of focus on the front end a little bit and get parcel set up. So hopefully you can see the text okay, it's big enough. So I should have gone. This is almost infuriating just because everything is so slow today. It's definitely live streaming. Maybe if I close this Google tab down. Yeah, it's saying YouTube's not receiving enough bandwidth. Anyway, let's carry on. I'll see if I can just bring up the stream on my phone and see if that helps. So we'll do getting started. And here's where I try and do two things at once. Look at the phone, see how things are going. Can you watch yourself live stream? Yes, I can. Hopefully. Oh yeah. That's a bit of Inception right there. Okay, so let's get parcel installed. But let's not install it globally, let's install it as a dev dependency. So we'll stop the server and we will bring in parcel as a dev dependency. And it's probably going to take a while given how much my computer's struggling at this moment in time. But once it's in, we should be good. And I think, yeah, parcel supports TypeScript, so it should almost be just a case of linking to a .ts file, and parcel will just go, hey, I know TypeScript, I'm going to deal with this now, and without any configuration, should set everything up for us. At least that's the theory. So, yeah, my computer is not enjoying this. And if there's something I can do about this. Yeah, I have dropped the bitrate coming down, but I guess that's still not enough. I mean, as you can see, Parcel definitely seems to install absolutely everything under the sun. And I guess that's just because it does so much for you out of the box. Or at least it can do. I've noticed there's been quite a few different CSS preprocessor things coming down, JS DOM, which is fairly sizable, post CSS, loads of Babel packages. So yeah, I mean it's pretty weighty, but it does a lot for you, so I think that's understandable and a trade-off we're willing to make. Love Parcel? Go donate. So, if you managed to stay with us through that, congratulations. Got more patience than I have. So, we could do with having potentially like a start client and a start server. The client's gonna call Parcel. I'm sure we need to pass it some kind of flags, and then we'll create our start command, which is gonna simply be npm run start client and npm run start server. So when we run npm start, we're simply just going to fire off both of these commands, so we should get the server side running and we should get Parcel doing its thing at the same time. So let's have a look at the CLI and see what features it supports. So I can do with a out directory. Maybe that wants to be something like static. I quite like the term static rather than public. Maybe that's Django and Django's naming convention. That's kind of rubbed off on me, but I certainly prefer it to dist or public. So, anything else we have? So we need to give it an entry file, actually. That's entry.js. So we've already got a source directory, and I'd usually just throw it in there. So I guess in this scenario, if we just have like a client directory, and inside client we could just have an index. We'll go JS for now, and let's see how this works. So console.log, and we'll just say hello world, your typical starter kind of thing to make sure things are working, and we need to go to client/index.js. So hopefully that will fire up parcel for us and output something in that static directory. There we go, we've had the static directory created, and we have a JavaScript file in here, loads of parcels, thingies, and hopefully, there we go, we have our index.js file in here, which is pretty neat. So that's parcel doing its thing. Whether or not it's watching for file changes, I don't know. Okay, simply just add in watch should do that, if it wasn't already. Pesky space at the end, so that's pretty cool. So we're going to switch over to TypeScript, but let's get our backend just kind of serving up this JavaScript file so everything works nicely. So I believe Express has a concept of serving static assets for us. Which it does, and we just want to throw this in app. So let's see if we can get that back on the root again, just make it a little nicer. So we haven't got a public directory, we have a static directory. And the one thing we need to do actually is add our script tag. Hello. I think the computer's... Oh no, it's me. Thought the computer had just decided not to do what I wanted it to do. So we have /static, but I think Express kind of takes that off. So weirdly, we might be able to just link to index.js. And that may work. Let's play the waiting game. Okay, I think we might be good. So we can't get auth, which is good. Yeah. So we can get that. But no, we do actually we do still want to serve a file up. So if we change this to /API, and we will just render a standard page here. Yeah, we've still got to keep starting and stopping that server. We definitely didn't set that up correctly the first time around. Let's play the waiting game while everything fires back up. Come on. Refresh. Come on. I know you can work. There we go. Servers on 3000. So we hopefully, if this has worked correctly, should see a console.log in the console. And we do. Neat. So that's cool. Now, one thing I do want to do is in here create a div with class of roots. I'm assuming the syntax is right for that. And that's just going to be somewhere where we can just render our let's go with React or something, where we can just render React or Preact or one of those things into that kind of root element. And actually, oh, reloading might be working. Yeah, we have a deal with class of roots on here. Cool, so we can use that to hook into with React. So let's get React and TypeScript up and running. If we check the docs out, is there a specific React section? Because it has to... Parcel is going to have to take the JSS syntax and convert it into regular JavaScript, but I'm assuming it probably just does that on the fly magically, because it's not listed under asset types, JSX being the asset type I'm kind of thinking of, but then maybe it's not classified as an asset. It's got to be supported. There is no way this thing doesn't support that. So let's just do an npm I react DOM, and I'm probably gonna have to install types, and I'm just guessing here. React DOM. So yeah, given the speed of my computer at this moment in time, that's probably going to take a while. React TypeScript types. Let's just check it. Okay, neat. And I guess with this all being like one project, it's just going to pick up my existing TypeScript config file, which maybe you do want the same for the server as your client side, maybe not, but I think we'll probably be able to get away with it. So it looks like it also depends on prop types, which I kind of was under the impression that if you were writing TypeScript with React, you didn't need prop types, as you'd be typing exactly kind of what you're expecting your component to receive. So that's interesting. Maybe I haven't understood something quite right. So React's in here. So if we rename that's a .ts, and let's get our TypeScript on. So the one thing I never remember how to do with React is just render it to a page. For some reason, that never sticks in my head. So no entries found. Interesting. That's because we're looking for index.js and we've renamed it to ts. I think that's how everybody needs to pronounce it now. Index.ts. So we're building index.ts right now. So this is a good test just to make sure it's to ensure it's able to pick up TypeScript and yeah, check it out. Even source mapping is working good because we're getting the fact this came from index.ts, which is pretty sweet. Sweet. So let's close that down, and in here import React from React. Now there was one thing I did go away and have a quick look at after the last episode, and it was to do with the imports. I don't seem to have put it in here, but there was an import option to stop having to do the as import start as express, and it just kind of worked. And I might bring that back in if it's going to start playing up. So I think I can import render from React DOM, and then if we just create a app component And again, I don't know if I need to start typing a lot of this stuff or if it's just going to infer a lot of the types. We'll just create a heading 1 with hello from React, and just because we're cool, a little wave emoji. Bam, that's looking good. Now okay, so it is not happy with something, and I think with TypeScript you have to name your file tsx, and then we're going to have to go and update that, fire everything back up again. 3 minutes later, let's see where we're at. I also need to call render. What does render take? Come on, IntelliSense. Surely you can give me some kind of clue. What comes first? App comes at some point. And then the document dot query selector. Okay, it's either that way around or the other way around. Okay, so it takes a... Why have I been a bad boy? Okay, I'm just going to ignore that. Okay, so React is not defined. Oh, it's important. It's capital React, isn't it? No, React is no defined. What an amateur mistake. So, let's think about this. Alright, TypeScript, getting started. Let's have a look what we've got and what we're missing. Okay, so, right, yeah, that's exactly what we did do. Oh, okay, yeah, we need to tell... Yeah. See, they've got the weird import thing there, so we might need to do that. I need to certainly go into the config and just tell I mean, you'd like to think that would be a default if JSX assume React. Oh yeah, okay, and the other thing is we want to include client as well. I mean, you are certainly getting the rough, raw, unedited version of this. Okay, so I'm assuming this error is because when you go and query the DOM, you may get the element back and you may get a null or an undefined back if what you're looking for in the DOM doesn't exist. And I guess TypeScript and its kind of strict mode is basically saying like, well, you might be passing a DOM element here and you might not be. So let's just do something crude. Const root is that. And then if we just check root I mean, surely there's nicer ways of doing this. But just getting our app kind of up and running. Okay, so I'm just checking this. Maybe it's the other way around. Maybe that's why it's kicking up a stink, and I should have thought of that beforehand. Nailed it. But yeah, I can never remember render. It's like that one thing you write at the very beginning of kind of when you're setting up an application, and then you never touch it again. So interestingly, it's complaining about React has no default export. So I'm going to have a quick look at that compiler option, just so I can put that in place. And I think one other thing I'm going to do is once I have this down a little bit more and I kind of understand more what I'm doing, I think it'd be nice to put this in a really succinct video. You know, without me looking at, I'm sure it's something to do with Babel. ES module interrupt. I am 100% sure this is what I need. Let's restart this. So yeah, I think a nice kind of getting going from TypeScript kind of thing would be good. Although there's probably loads of those out there already. Maybe they're just kind of not to my kind of cup of tea and I get a bit bored with them. Either way, it might be something I can do. So, okay, so we're hitting the Express problem, which is fine. So we can get away with this weird dirty import. And that cleans that up quite nicely, actually. Okay, so we're good. We are running up with TypeScript and React. So I guess kind of one thing I want to do is I want to be able to I also want to go and get some JSON. Whether that JSON has to be validated and ensured that it's in the correct shape that I'm expecting it to be in. I guess like similar thing to Elm. Elm forces you to kind of if you get JSON from kind of an endpoint, it forces you to basically like decode the JSON into an Elm type, and you have to say like, okay, well, first name is a string, last name is a string, age may or may not be present, so that could be maybe int. And if for whatever reason, if the JSON that you're requesting doesn't match, then it kind of takes the failure route, and you're obviously forced to handle the failure route in Elm because you can never have. Well, supposedly it never allows you to kind of create a kind of a runtime exception. There's no undefined, and I'm kind of hoping that kind of security and kind of like safety net is there in TypeScript as well. It's obviously built on top of JavaScript, and I guess there's maybe a few holes and leaky bits, or it maybe can't be quite as tight as Elm, but I'd like to think it can get us most of the way there. So, where to go now? So, I'm just going to try for as long as possible to just stick everything in one big file. Usually in JavaScript land, that's kind of like a big no-no. In Elm, it seems to be a little bit more allowed, and then just you break it out of that file once things kind of get too large and crazy. But let's see if we can apply that to JavaScript and TypeScript and hopefully not make too much of a mess as we kind of go along. So actually, one thing I do want to try is just removing this if statement and see where that gets us. So we cannot have strict mode on because there is no way that should be allowed. Okay, well, That's bizarre. Because that could quite easily be a null. And there we go, we kind of get like an error. Which I'd like to think should never happen. So let's just wrap that back round for now. And it does feel like something in the strict kind of mode isn't quite set up correctly. Maybe one thing we could do is just nip back over to TypeScript and find out. It's like something to do with null checks, strict null checks. In strict null checking mode, the null and undefined values are not in the domain of every type, are only assignable. Yeah. But then enabling strict mode enables that anyway. So your guess is as good as mine. Anyway, let's kind of carry on going. So I guess from the API it'd be nice to bring back a list of some things and get those some things rendering. So I guess I could have something kind of called a list, and this is going to take a list of some things, and it's simply going to, let's just say it's going to map over each one of these, and for each x in the x's we are going to simply render I don't know, let's just go for a list item with x in there. And yeah, sure, we might need to render with keys, but so x has an implicit type any. So this is good. This is kind of like the first. This is the first bit of TypeScript we kind of need to go and look at. So I imagine I need to kind of create a new type for what these x's are. And although I don't know that yet, hopefully I can just kind of make something up on the fly and use that. So tutorials, no, where is it? It's the handbook. So I want some kind of way of declaring a type. Maybe an interface is a way of that. So it's a shape values must have. Now a little bit of something I'm aware of is there might be a way of, I'd heard there was interfaces, and is that, I don't know, maybe type alias isn't the right thing, maybe I'm thinking too much Elmy. Okay, interfaces versus types. Okay, so have many similarities. Okay, so interfaces seem to be preferred to type aliases. I think I want to I think just out of habit I want to use type rather than interface. But that's just me, although things what I'm reading here seem to say maybe interface is slightly better. Doesn't matter, maybe let's try both ways and see if we hit any road bumps along the way. So we got interface, and then we've got type. So let's say type, and then let's give it a name. And let's say we're getting a list back of, oh my god, what can we get a list back of? It could be anything. Could be anything. Doesn't need to be something. Let's go for something so boring. Let's go for a type of person. Okay, this person's going to have a name, which is going to be a string. Does that just work? Age. This is... This is nothing fancy at all. Do I need an equal sign there? Yeah. Okay, so let's get this person in. And then I guess we kind of want to say it's like this is an array of person. I don't know how you do that. Maybe it'd be person array. Okay. Seems to be quite nice. Okay. And then it's just infer the fact that this X is going to be a person. So that's cool. So we can't obviously render X in there, and I'd assume TypeScript would say, like, hey, you can't just render this kind of shape in an LI. I don't know how to do that. But it doesn't seem to do. So let's see if it supports fragments out the box. If you've not seen fragments before, they're a reasonably new feature to React, where you, because you can only ever return like one top level element, kind of let's call it, or function call. Everyone used to wrap everything in divs all over the place, just kind of get around this, but React's kind of gives us a way to be able to not have to do those wrapping divs everywhere. So maybe we just want to call our list with X's CD. Okay, so I've forgotten how to react. So we're gonna have a name. Oh my god, it's getting late. Look at the time. That is why. So hopefully this is just going to infer all the types I'm using here as well. I think I'm 33 now. Let's go for Rob. Rob knows who he is. Rob's a good guy. If you've not met Rob, you don't live in Lincolnshire, is all I can say. Because Rob knows everybody. So type X's is not assignable to type. This is see, this is where I'm thinking I mean, am I doing this right? I don't know if it's the TypeScript here, which is just confusing me. But I guess I know, because that's usually you'd have to kind of pluck out the kind of X's here. So how would I normally just do this in React? If I had like the people, and then I basically just say I get the people out of here. It's been a few weeks since I've kind of done it in React, and then I'd kind of just do Okay, well this is going to fail anyway because it's returning. This is returning lots of junk in my trunk. So UL in here. I just want to wrap that in the curlies, so at least then we're only returning one top level thing. So what's the syntax for that? This is definitely not very readable. Let's just go have a quick look at a quick start with React, just to not waste too much time on this. Okay, so we have got, looks like Redux or something in here as well. Okay, yeah, that doesn't help. Okay, so we've got components, and in our component here, oh, okay, that's perhaps where I'm going wrong. I need to define interface props, and actually let's do that instead of so let's get rid of that. Let's make this a little happier. So then we basically just pass. Okay, yeah. Okay, so that's kind of the destructuring happening here, and then we basically just no way. Why is there so many squigglies? Oh, okay, so an interface doesn't have the equal sign, but a type does. Okay. I'm sure there's good reason for that, but that certainly caught me out. And X's doesn't exist on type person. Okay, so yeah, this is where we want the list. Damn it, wrong side. Okay, yeah, and we're destructuring that. So I just want to call person here. And oh, actually, people dot map, and I know, yeah. So then we take in our person. Let's put some decent names in here now, and person dot name. And we're just throwing away the age at the moment, so okay, so people.map is not a function, and that's because in here I mean, it's definitely an error, but it's an error that isn't meaning a huge amount to me. And I kind of get what it's saying to a certain degree, but it's certainly not offering me any clues as to what the solution is. So maybe if I just pass in an empty array. And again, I don't know if some of this needs to be kind of like typed a little bit heavier. So I guess if we look where hello is going to be rendered, that might give us a clue. as to kind of what's happening and where. Hello? Is it me you're looking for? I feel this is close, but not close enough. So I'm going to just use some Google foo and let's get rid of that and that. Just see if this kind of makes any more sense, because certainly as a newcomer this doesn't know. Okay, hopefully that's not the issue. Well, this isn't as quick as easy to figure out as I thought it would be, and I'm sure I'm just doing something wrong, which is something like this. I guess let's do something a little simpler, shall we? Shall we just say, for example, let's call this with name, and name is just going to be Christian, which is fine. Let's copy that, comment that out. So this is proper going back to basics. So we get the name, and here we simply just want to do name, and we're good here, I think. Yeah. So it has an explicit type of any, and we want to just say that's a string. String is declared, but its value is never read. Fine. I'm not meaning to declare it. Okay, so actually this is where we've kind of gone wrong, where we've kind of said like, oh, we've got that, but we want to just say that's props. Sorry. Okay, well, it kind of would be props, but we've named it badly, or we've called it person. No. God damn. So we pass in name, and it doesn't. Okay, so at the call site, it certainly doesn't have any types in there. So components, hello. Okay, so we just have it wrapped around here. Oh, okay, so yeah, I'm not. It's expecting like a single person to be passed in here. But then it feels like it's trying to destructure that. So that's it. Yeah. Perfect. And again, it's compiling, which I kind of imagine it shouldn't compile, given the fact there are errors in the code. So I want to pass down people as an empty array. That should render nothing. I mean, it's late. Things are getting tired. What the hell is this thing? Let's take that out of the equation. Yeah. So I don't know why I can't do that. Because this is expecting an object. Yeah, that makes sense. So actually, props. It took a lot longer to figure out than I would have liked it to. And then this is going to have people inside of it, I guess. And that's going to be like a person here. And then if I have another interface called person, name string, age number, that's just going to pass in the props. This is looking better. An idiot's guide to TypeScript and React. Thank you very much. Yeah, boy. Let's get our main man Rob in here. Man. Oh man. You can tell it's late. Oh, why is that? Get that out of there. So we get Rob. Rob's age, I think he's knocking on 40 now. Jeez. Oh my life. There we go. We're doing good. Obviously need the keys in there, which is fine. But yeah, that makes sense. So this is always props. And then, yeah, of course, we are plucking out people within there. Makes so much sense now. Now I can see it. But it's just one of those things where... I don't know. It takes a while to get these things, doesn't it? Or it does it for me. So we could call use effect. Let's maybe just have a quick look at this. Actually, I guess, yeah, maybe in our app might be a good place to do this. So I think okay, I can never kind of remember exactly this. Yeah, it gives an array. I think that's fine. Let's just see if we can like fetch /API, then console.log, catch, console.error. Again, I've not had to type anything in there, but let's see if that kind of works. And again, this isn't going to particularly do anything interesting, but we do get a response from the server, and that response contains this. Now the next question is kind of like, how do I get this into my app? Will it just allow this unformatted bit of data in here or not? So I could call use state with const nice auto import there. I never use, don't think I've ever used use state. I always just kind of reach for use reducer and just kind of keep state top level and pass it down. I guess Redux kind of style. I just kind of carried that on all the time. So we have a count and a set count. X and a set X, because I don't quite know what I'm doing yet. And here, if we take our data and call set X, again, I'm possibly doing this wrong, but and actually let's just pop that in line. So that calls that. Let's just console.log. This is X, and just see if this actually updates itself. Even tonight's track record, I ain't hounding out much hope. This is X. Yeah, okay, so this is potentially a late one. I think I'm probably just going to call it a night here. We've got reasonably far, but then again, we haven't had to type much. Yes, we've had to say kind of like what shape of our props are kind of coming in, which is kind of no different to what I'd do with prop types anyway, and get a similar kind of level of safety. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like TypeScript's doing a little bit of helping for me, but it doesn't seem as if it's saving me from making kind of like stupid mistakes. I could quite easily just change that. It seems to build perfectly fine, and bam, like I have an error. I don't want to ship an error to the clients. So yeah, that's why this isn't coming in. This is an X. Let's say what X actually is, shall we? That's response. Yeah, of course we want to set the response. So res, and we want to say like res dot. Oh, actually it's JSON, isn't it? So I'm going to do res.json, which returns another promise, and then close that off in here. Then, and here's where we can just inline set X, because wherever the JSON is, we just want to set it. And there we go, bam, that's in our app. But that's untyped data that's kind of in our app that we're storing now. So that feels very weird, and certainly kind of in Elm you'd be forced to handle that before you'd even be able to kind of get to this stage. So I'm not kind of trying to say like, oh, well, Elm is kind of like the gold standard, but certainly in terms of creating a safe application, it seems to just be kind of like head and shoulders above TypeScript at this moment in time. But then I'm sure there's probably lots of TypeScript that I just don't know. But let's stick with this for now. I think this is a good ending point, and we are getting tired.